Good evening and welcome to the latest edition of Ross Raider Wrap-Up Show. I'm your host, Matt Harrelson, and alongside with me this evening is the boys and girls swim team coach, Mike Way. So, Mike, we really appreciate you joining us. And as I was explaining to you, the whole point of the Raider Wrap-Up Show is to encompass all things Richmond Raider sports. We want people to know that there's more than just football out there. And I know swimming is a relatively new sport for Richmond, but before we get to that, real quick, because I've had the privilege of covering you guys for tennis.
Okay.
So, of course, congrats on a very successful season that you guys had this past fall. Of course, 11 wins in a row is impressive no matter what sport.
Thank you.
So with that being said, one question about tennis before we get to swimming. What's the outlook for the Lady Raiders next season?
Well, next year, quite honestly, it's going to be a little bit of a rebuild. We were 8 on the team this year, 7 seniors. And that it was the culmination of 2 or 3 years of these girls playing together and getting better. And then, this year is when you take advantage of that, when you have the older players and more experienced. And, we had a good year because of it. Now, next year, we're going to be looking. Quite honestly, this summer is going to be my job to go out and, find some new girls.
Find some players.
And basically start over. But
okay.
I'm looking forward to it.
Well, every once in a while a program has to rebuild, so that's
True.
nothing new. But let's talk about swimming. So, like I said, this is kind of a relatively new sport for Richmond. How many years has that been a sport now?
This is our second.
Second, okay.
Yes.
And you've coached both years, right?
Yes.
So what improvements have you seen from both squads, not only throughout this season, but going back to last season with it being the first year?
Now, it was kind of an odd situation last year. We were a first-year program, but we were also, there was a especially large group of female athletes especially, and we got some from the football team last year. But last year, even though it was our first year, we were pretty successful in that we had some athletic kids, and we basically just kind of tried to turn them into swimmers. And they were very competitive and wanted to get better and, worked hard at it. And same thing this year, but it's just a different group. It's more of it's a group where we're having to teach them how to be competitive. They've just never played too many organized sports, or especially at Richmond, and a lot of them, this is the first team they've ever been on. So that's been a difference from last year to this year. But overall, the work ethic and those kinds of things, that's where we've improved the most.
I wouldn't know personally, but you definitely have to be athletic to be a swimmer.
Oh yeah,
for
definitely.
sure. So class-wise, break down what your teams are as far as seniors, juniors, that sort of thing.
We're pretty evenly spread this year.
Mm-hmm.
We're a little younger on the girls' side. We've got a couple senior leaders, I would call, Natalie Davis and Grayson Way, that were there last year and have improved a little bit into this year and just kind of knew where we were trying to get. And on the boys' side, Dakota Locklear was basically our only holdover from last year, and he's greatly improved. Actually has, a few places. He's interested in swimming in college and actually has a few places interested in him. So that'll be a good start for our program and, that kind of thing. And we're a little bit spread this year. The good part about it is we have some freshmen out and some sophomores out that we'll look to improve over the next couple of years instead of just being, seniors first time out and just see what we can get out of them. We're focusing more this year on getting ready for, the years to come.
Now, that's a perfect segue, and you mentioned a couple of these ladies, but Lady Raiders' 200-yard relay team took first place this past Wednesday. And a shout-out, of course, to the seniors, Natalie Davis, Grayson Way, Kelsey Murray, and Haley Poston. So how much does that senior leadership come into play, especially in relay events?
Well, the leadership part helps, but, it's more of an experience thing because, to be honest with you, we went into the meets last year blind. We went in and we're just all kind of overwhelmed to begin with.
Figuring it out.
It's loud. It's very busy. They don't wait for anybody. You got to know when it's your time to go. If you're not ready to go, they just go without you. So that has helped a lot. The girls that were there last year and knew kind of what to expect going in. And the seniors the biggest help to it is they are encouraging to the younger kids,
Right.
and I mean they know what it's like. They know it's not easy, so they help to encourage them and keep them moving in the right direction.
Sure. So on the boys' side, in your opinion, who's shown the most improvement overall, or just as a team, perhaps?
Yeah, I mean it's hard to pick out just one. I mean there's Dakota showed some promise last year, and then into this year, I can see some obvious improvements. I mean, there are some, for example, Thomas Barbie was the athlete of the week this past week, mainly because of improvement. And I mean, he's worked pretty hard at it, and you can see it. You can see it in the pool each day when they're in there, and that's true for almost all of them. So it's not like you want to just pick out one or two to say that that's the case, because all of them are working hard at it, and all of them are getting better at it.
And I would imagine, just like any other sport, it takes practice to get better when it comes to swimming. So in competing against teams that have full-time swimmers, in practice, during the meets, what's Richmond doing to stay competitive?
Well, that's kind of a tough issue, and if I can figure out the answer to it, I'd be happy to tell you. But the way I explain it to them, it's hard to kind of, which comes first, the chicken or the egg?
Right.
We have to get more stamina in the pool, and we also have to improve our technique in the pool. But they kind of go together. You need to improve your technique to improve your stamina, but if you don't have enough stamina to get through the races, your technique really doesn't matter.
Right.
So we're trying to balance the two between getting the stamina that they need and also working on technique to get faster, and we try to make it just as competitive as we can each day in practice. We're trying to get, basically putting our team against our team, just trying to get each kid faster.
Very well put. And final question here for you, Coach. Wednesday ended you guys' regular season, so what comes next for the Richmond swimming team now?
This Saturday, we have our conference meet or conference tournament. Now, it works a little bit different. It's a little more heavily based on your top swimmers. Like, you can only have three in each event, as opposed to like our 50-meter freestyle. We had basically the whole team swimming in it. Now you can only pick your fastest three, and they try to score the points for the meet. And this also, I mean, quite honestly, the conference meet will bring out, Pinecrest's best and Jack Britt's best swimmers. I mean, they share swimmers between, swim teams and their high school teams, so they're kind of back and forth. But our biggest hurdle, quite honestly, is experience. I mean, you're swimming against teams that have been kids that have been competitively swimming since they were 5 or 6 years old.
Right.
And we got kids that have been swimming 2.5 months.
So I actually lied. This is my last question here for you.
Are you fine?
With the SAC tournament coming up, what does Richmond need to do, boys and girls, to be successful in the tournament?
It's easy to say, well, some high finishes. Yeah,
Right.
that would be.
Of course,
at
it
this
also
point,
depends on what you call successful too,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, you can define successful a lot of different ways. To me, I'm looking for improvement, as we go. I don't want somebody to be slower or the same speed at the end of the season that they were at the beginning. But now, that being said, success can be defined in getting better at the event, or it can also be defined by just last week when we finished, first in the relay.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm looking for improvement and effort, quite honestly. That's what I'm after in the meet on Saturday.
All right, sounds good. So that'll take place Saturday, again, at St. Andrews University. So if you got some time this weekend, definitely head out and check out the SAC swimming tournament. So tennis, boys and girls swim coach Mike Way, we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We're going to take our commercial break here, and when we come back, we've got plenty more RO Sports update, including talking about boys basketball upsetting 2 major teams inside the SEC. All that and more when we come back to the RO Sports Show Raider Wrap-Up.
I'm Joey Bennett, Director of Cole Auditorium, and this is Emily Tucker from the Richmond County Chamber of Commerce, and we're here in the Cole Auditorium. We've got a whole new series of shows we're announcing for 2019, and we're very excited about who we're bringing to Richmond County.
So, Joey, what do I have to look forward to?
We have 3 fabulous shows that we're so excited about that are going to be right here at Cole Auditorium. Scotty McCreary, Craig Morgan, and Hotel California.
And where do I go to find these tickets?
You call us here at the box office, 910-410-1691, or come by and see us.
McNair Auto Sales is the place to buy your pre-owned car, truck, or van. To be the best, it takes big selection, friendly staff, and great pricing. We guarantee a no-hassle buying experience, and financing is available right on site. So come see us today. We're located at 1026 East Broad Avenue in Rockingham. And remember, with over 40 years of experience, you know McNair is the name you can trust.
Willow Tree Antiques and Gifts is all about rustic home decor and gifts. You will always find a variety of unique antiques, vintage, and new items in our shop. Come and see our selection of housewarming, new baby, and wedding gifts. For the man in your life, we have many collectibles, Boker knives, and leather. And ladies love the jewelry, purses, candles, hats, and t-shirts. We also offer a 30-day layaway program. Come and experience shopping at Willow Tree Antiques and Gifts.
At Richmond County Hospice, we strive to provide high-quality care to our patients and their families. Whether it's the incredible hospitality at the Haven House or from the comfort of your own home, you can count on hospice to be there for you. We also offer monthly grief support groups, and our chaplain will be there to hold your hand in prayer. Through our amazing staff and our volunteers, hospice has made difficult times easier for our community. Call the number on your screen if you feel that you or your loved one may benefit from our services. Richmond County Hospice. Peace, comfort, dignity.
And welcome back to the Ross Raider Wrap-Up Show. And once again, we want to thank Coach Mike Way for joining us for an interview. In the RO Sports Department, something that hasn't happened since 2004 took place Tuesday night inside 71st High School's gymnasium in a Sandhills Athletic Conference battle between Richmond and the host Falcons. The Raiders, who entered the night hot off their upset win over Lumberton High School on Friday, continued to tear through some of their toughest competition of the season. Richmond and head coach Donald Pettigrew edged the Falcons 75-71, making it the first time in 15 years the Raiders had defeated 71st on its home court. During that season, the Raiders went 23-5 and posted a 12-2 record in the then Mid-Southeastern Conference, which secured the conference title. Tuesday's 4-point win made it only the second time in the last decade and a half that Richmond has defeated the Falcons, the other being a 48-47 nail-biter on January 18, 2008 in Rockingham. Now with back-to-back wins against two of the toughest teams in the SAC, the Raiders inched their way closer to the 500 mark and now sit with a 7-8 overall record and 2-4 record against conference opponents. The Raiders will look to win their third conference game in a row Friday as they'll host Scotland High School. The Fighting Scots, who are 4-11 overall, 2-4 in the SAC, upset Lumberton 60-59 on Tuesday. Tip-off is set for 7:30 p.m. following the Lady Raiders game. Speaking of the Lady Raiders, entering Tuesday's SAC showdown between the Richmond Lady Raiders and the 71st Lady Falcons, the two teams were tied for third place in the conference standings with matching 3-2 records. It was 71st that moved ahead in the standings as the host Lady Falcon used a third quarter scoring drought by Richmond to win on its home court 51-34. With the loss, Richmond moved to a game under 500 with a 7-8 overall record, while it was also the team's second straight SAC loss, evening its record at 3-3. The Lady Falcons improved to 8-5 overall and 4-2 in SAC play. Richmond head coach Teddy Mosley explained that the team's efforts from the floor didn't help its cause, as the Lady Raiders shot 12 of 65 from the field. Many of those missed shots came in the third quarter as Richmond only managed to score 3 points in 8 minutes and saw a scoring drought of 4 minutes and 3 seconds between baskets. The Lady Raiders will host Scotland High School, 6-9 overall, 1-5 in the conference, Friday at 6 p.m. as they look to end a 2-game skid against SAC opponents. It's now time to take a break in the action to bring you the official Richmond County Male and Female Athletes of the Week. On the boys' side, Thomas Barbie, a sophomore on the Raiders boys swimming team, was chosen for this week's accolade. The Richmond swimming teams hit the pool for the first time in 2019 last Wednesday, the regular season finale, as Barbie was one of several swimmers to set new personal records in a meet that the Raiders finished 6th overall. Kelsey Murray, a senior on the Richmond girls swimming team, has been named the Female Athlete of the Week. In her first year with the Richmond swimming program, Murray participates in several events. In the regular season finale last Wednesday at St. Andrews University, Murray was an integral part of the Lady Raiders' win in the 200-yard relay, which was also her first time swimming in that event. So, of course, a huge congratulations to both Thomas Barbie and Kelsey Murray on being recognized as the official Richmond County Athletes of the Week. Back to the action now, and for the first time this season, the Raider varsity wrestling team brought home some hardware over the weekend. Competing in the Eagle Duels East Montgomery High School, the Raiders swept their opponents, going a perfect 5-0 on the day. Not only was it the second consecutive weekend that head coach Earl Nicholson's team went undefeated, the 5 victories were a single meet season best performance. Over their last 10 matches, including 3 at the Joel McKenna Invitational and their home SAC matches last Wednesday, the Raiders are 9-1 overall. On the season, Richmond holds a 22-14 overall record. Finally, on tonight's Ross Raider wrap-up, on Wednesday evening last week, the SAC swimmers packed into O'Haron Pool at St. Andrews University for the final regular season conference meet of the season. The Raiders and Lady Raiders were looking to end the season strong, and many of them recorded their career best times on finale night. The largest accolade of the night for Richmond went to the Lady Raiders 200-yard relay team, comprised of seniors Natalie Davis, Grayson Way, Kelsey Murray, and Haley Poston. The Lady Raiders clocked in at 2:14.66 and took first place in the event. Each member of the relay team had big finishes in individual events as well. So that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Ross Raider Wrap-Up. We appreciate everybody for tuning in, and of course, a big thank you again to head coach Mike Way. So I'm Matt Harrelson. We'll see you right back here next week for another edition of the Raider Wrap-Up.